Hello, this is part two of the what has become a two-part series explaining the usage of the 960 grid system. So, where we left off at the end of part one, basically we took a look at the design view and we had something similar to this here. So, uh, what we did, you want to see the actual grid itself, is we define the text inside that particular container, the paragraph, and we have something that looks like this. So, okay, so that explains basically, um, initially you want to have a container tag that is in between the opening body and the closing body tag, and that container basically sets the style for your page, again, whether it be 12, 16, or 24. So let me just wipe this text out here and show you what would come next. Now, what I want to do is just get some space in between these div tags, and at this point, what I want to do is insert what will be a header for this particular page. So the header is going to occupy the full width of this particular grid. So I'll show you how that's done. So I'm going to get the div tag. The class is going to be grid underscore 12. So I have that here. See, and let me just move this div tag down again. So I have this code has been added to my document. So basically it's a grid underscore 12, and this here will be, say, the header. So I can actually select this text, and I'm just going to give it a format of paragraph. And now we can take a look inside web browser, design view, actually the live view, Dreamweaver, and here's what we get. So keep in mind the way the style sheet, the demo.css style sheet is designed, the paragraph text actually adds the border. So that's just a visual aid, or you can change it in any way you want in the future for this specific document. So we go back to the code view, and so we have this here, the grid underscore 12, the content, and you notice the opening div tag and the closing div tag. Now the next thing you want to do is to make sure that the header stays separate from content below it. If you want to insert a div tag of class clear. So that's what's going to happen as you're developing using this specific grid system. So you notice here we have a div class of clear, and let me go back to this specific div tag here. This is div tag for the container. We don't want to work with that. We want to work right in this region here. So we have a div tag class clear. We're going to highlight the text because inside this this div tag we don't want any text up here. Go back to design view in Dreamweaver. Our page is coming along nicely here. So what we want to do now is we want to say, okay, we want to get a left navigation bar, so we want 3 columns. So in this case, we go over to the insert div tag, and we're going to take a grid of underscore 3. So here's that specific grid, and what we want to do is highlight it to show that it actually exists and what its region is. We're going to change this text to paragraph text, and now we're going to go back to the design view, and you'll notice the text appears here, we have a 3-column wide piece of text here, and notice that it doesn't have this these bands, this horizontal backdrop of 12 columns, and the reason for that is that won't happen until we actually put the clear tag in. So I'm going to go back to my Dreamweaver tool over here. I'm going to insert the class of clear, and so now we just move this div tag down again, and what we now have is clear tag in place. We can delete this text here. We can go back to design view. You can see here's the left nav bar right in here. Has a column width of 3. So the next thing I want to do is inside, just below the grid underscore 3, we want to add some columns for the main content. And if you notice, and we want the main content to actually fill the entire space left to the right of this grid 3. So what we want to do is select the grid of underscore 9. So go back to the insert the div tag. Class will be grid underscore 9. And we'll put that there like that. You see here's the div tag we just inserted. We have grid underscore 3 followed by grid underscore 9. At this point I'm just going to take this text here. I'm going to assign it paragraph. So now we can look inside Design View of Dreamweaver. And you can see right here 3-column text. And here's our 9-column or 3-column wide. So 3-column wide nav bar, and this would be our 9-column wide main content area. So if I can go back to code view, and you notice we have a clear tag already. So that means that we've done everything correctly so far. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to demonstrate the usage of the alpha tag and the omega tag. So let's suppose we have another region here that will span, say, 12 columns. So we'll select the grid of 12. And let me just move this div tag down again. And notice that if we display this after assigning paragraph, the format of this specific text, let's just take a look and see what we have here. So it's in the center, and obviously it spans the full 12 columns. But that's not what we want to do. We want to have a container of, say, 6 columns, followed by a, no, let's change it, a container of 5 columns, followed by a container of 7 columns. But that container, those containers, will reside within the grid of 12 columns. So the way we want to do that is we want to wipe this text out here, and we want to insert inside the grid underscore 12, which is 12 columns, we want to insert a grid of 5 columns. So we'll go back to our insert div tag, and we choose grid underscore 5, and we have something like this here. Let me just move some of these tags, and we don't get confused. Is the opening and closing tag with this here. This is the opening div tag, and here's a closing div tag down here for the grid of underscore 12. Now, you see this here. We have the grid class is being set to grid underscore 5. So now we want to fill up the rest of the width. So what we're going to do is we're going to change this number here from grid underscore 5 to 7. Basically, I just copied the text, and now I want to change this text as well so I can keep track of what I'm doing. So we have a grid underscore 12 columns wide, and then it's divided into these children grids. First one is 5 columns, and the next one is 7 columns. So let's just take a look at that. And it doesn't look like what we want, and there's a reason for that. What we need to do is we need to insert, since this is the first child of grid underscore 5, we have to insert an additional class of alpha. So we'll choose that. And now this grid underscore 7 is the last child within the grid underscore 12. So we have to assign that omega. So we do that right here. Okay, so now take a look at our design view. You see that we in fact get a column width here of 5 columns, followed by a column width of 7 columns. Now, we want to see the text, or should I say the vertical bars for the actual grid. We want to assign this text to the paragraph text, and also assign this text to the paragraph text as well. So now if we look at it in a design view, you see we have something like this. Now we have one more step, and that is at this point here we want to insert another clear tag. So we want to go, so we have now the clear class has been added to this document, and now we should get the backdrop of the 12 column grid to fill the full length of our document. So let me go back to the actual code, and I can wipe this text out here. And so in summary, what we did was, let me just try and isolate this text to get a better idea of what it is we actually did. So right inside here, we have a grid of 12 columns, and then we subdivided that grid of 12 columns into a grid of 5 columns and then a grid of 7 columns. And in order to get this to work correctly, when you have a grid within a grid, you have a parent-sibling relationship here, you have to include in your first child on that specific row the additional class of alpha, and the last grid needs to get the additional class of omega.